waking up from the years of the wise. The round table is talking to you, clearing the way so you can leap too. You're watching the Round Table, where we discuss the Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and how they're falling apart around the world. Stick around for some truths. Enjoy the reality only at the Round Table.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Welcome back to the Roundtable. We are your hosts, Jimmy and Deasis. And so we thank everybody for joining us. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. This is the first time that we've ever done a Zoom meeting. And so we're hoping the technical issues are few and far between and everything comes out really well. We have a guest this afternoon. His name is David Croney. We'll be introducing him in a second. And I think you guys are going to be very interested in what David has to say. Now,
it's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is going to be interesting. Now, one thing that we did the Freemason video.
We did.
And when
was it, about 2 years ago now?
It was October 2019 we did that.
Yeah.
And
going on 2 years.
At the beginning of that video, or we talked about doing that video, I didn't want to do it because I was very skeptical.
Yeah. But
Deasis, he was all into it.
I still am. I think that there's a connection there.
Yeah. So now after that video was done, I started to do some research and I found out, wow, there are some mysterious connections that Watchtower does have. And so I've been on a mission trying to connect Watchtower to the globalist agenda, deep state, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. Now,
you've definitely been on a mission. He has been on a mission about that.
So what I want to say before we even start this video is this video is going to be more political than some of the ones that we've done before, but we're going to try to keep it Watchtower centric. And at the end of the video, I'll talk about how you can go see more videos that David has done that goes into more of a deeper political analysis of what's going on in the world. So if you guys bear with me just a second, I want to read Dave's bio. Okay, so this is what happens when you do not edit your stuff. So anyway, all right, so
we're getting there.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll eventually get a green screen and all that good stuff, and a microphone in the middle.
Nice little logo back here, some interior lighting.
So, all right. So David was born into a strict, controlling Jehovah's Witness family and was kept in the dark for decades about his family's involvement as Swiss bankers for the Vatican. David worked in a career as a banker and broker and decided in his early 40s that he could no longer work in the corrupt system and left the banking industry. Seeking solution to the corruption he had encountered, David found that he had been compartmentalized and lied to his whole life. Go figure.
No way.
Yeah. He began to awaken through a spiritual journey that opened up his spiritual abilities. And with these newfound abilities, he dedicated his study to finding out who was running the planet. He learned who and what was running the planet and what he could do about it. David asked for help from Source, and through his prayers and meditation was given the key to who was at the top of the control structure. David is here to share a story and inform viewers that there is a solution to the mess we are in. So, without further ado, we want to welcome Dave Croney to the Roundtable.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much for the invitation on your show. I'm excited to be here and sort of tell people what's going on. I've dedicated like the last 30 years of my life trying to figure out what happened to me being brought up in the kingdom halls of this country here and actually all over the world. I'd traveled to different places, different kingdom halls, different printing facilities. So I have quite a background. A lot of people I know went to Bethel, things like that. So
well, Dave, I was very interested in what you had to say last week on Dan and Angela's show on their YouTube channel, Life After Religion, and I immediately had to reach out to you because I was like, we have to talk. And I think what's some of the information that you have is really going to help some of the folks that are just coming out of the organization to realize, you know what, there's a bigger world out there. And most of the people, they're just stuck with that Watchtower mentality that, you know, that there's nothing really else out there. And they look at it as being, you know, conspiracy, or I don't know, they don't look at it that way anymore. So what we're trying to do is just trying to get people to broaden their perspective and maybe enhance what type of research that they do. So
Definitely.
that's what we definitely
Yeah.
wanted to try to do today. So we have 5 questions that we want to ask you today, and then
Okay.
we'll just go from there. Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay. So the first question we had was, what caused you to look into the possibility that there were outside entities running Watchtower?
Well, that's an interesting question. It's a very deep study. You know, I look at it like an onion. It's layered. And you know, I would say this, just like there's a lot of people that may have seen the Illuminati pyramid, where it shows, you know, basically the ruling class at the top and the common people at the bottom. What I had always thought that was accurate up until about 7, 8 years ago, when I found that there's actually 12 pyramids. And they're only showing us one, which is at the very bottom. The control structure is so large and huge, just you know, on the planet itself. And as you study those different control structures and the methods that are used to control humanity, you start to open up to entities, and that is difficult for maybe a lot of people I know. You know, that I've talked to in the Christian, you know, who are Christian or of a Christian upbringing, they have a resistance to entities or aliens or, you know, even demons. And, you know, of course, you know, I know demons and Satan is widely talked about in all the publications of the Watchtower. But it seemed, you know, what had happened to me in my childhood is I had been shut down and told that, you know, basically it was Armageddon's coming tomorrow from the time I was 5 years old. So I was scared I was going to die.
Mhm.
And, you know, those are the kinds of ways that they compartmentalize me. And like those type of things at 5 and 6 years old basically took me down to a level where I couldn't see outside of that compartment. And in my let's say in my employment, I became an expert at all the departments, let's say in a large corporation. It was something I sought out and I became aware of. And as I developed that skill set of being able to go and find out what different compartments do, I was brought into a lot more truth. And that's the same with the question that's being asked. How did I connect to it? Well, it's a long, lengthy process. I went through all kinds of things. I mean, I went on a spiritual journey where I got into the New Age and I studied all that. And luckily, you know, my higher power was always directing me. So I was able to see the untruths in a lot of the New Age and a lot of the practices.
Oh, no.
But I also was connecting to entities and those type of things through those practices. So I was actually getting an understanding they existed, which I hadn't before. And then I was finding that they were corrupted also. A lot of these channelers and a lot of these gurus that are out there.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers it.
Question.
Yeah.
So what would you say your belief system is now?
Well, that's the thing we were just discussing a little bit before we opened this call, and it took me a long time. You know, I left the Watchtower Society at about 15, 16, and I never looked back. I sort of became a very, let's just say, sort of a party guy. You know, I wanted to get completely away from, you know, the restriction and constraint of what I'd been through. So I went like a rocket ship and went out into what you call the, you know, outside the religion, you know, and all of those experiences brought me to where I'm at. So sorry, I hope that answers a little bit about what you're asking, but.
Okay, sure. Yeah, the reason I ask is I was wondering if you had any type of specific belief system nowadays.
Oh yeah,
I know
excuse me.
you mentioned that you pray, you know, you still pray.
Yes.
Um,
Well, it's through literally like probably about 30 to 40 different practices that I learned to be who and what I am now. And it's all about going within, not with outside. I always looked outside and kept finding I was being misdirected. And as I got into my practices, I learned to go in with meditation and prayer. I found basically that source is outside of me. There's the creator of all that is, and that source is also inside me. And for me, it's a balance. I need source outside me, and I need source within. And I can't, let's say, rest on my laurels, which is something I sort of was taught in the witnesses. It's sort of like, hey, all these things are taken care of for you. You don't need to engage in them. Well, that's one of the ways they control us. It's one of the ways they control the society, because they only have, let's say, trusted dark individuals doing a lot of the things in the religion that people don't know about. And that's also what I found as well in all of my seeking through religion, is that there's just darkness everywhere. I mean, I had a friend who was a Mormon and told me about that he had been toward the sacrifice temples that are underneath each Mormon temple. So, that was a shocker to me at the time.
Wow.
But,
I've never heard of that. Yeah, that's new to me. We'll have to talk about that some other time, definitely.
Yeah, I got a feeling we may end up doing a part 2 with Dave sometime.
Yeah.
But Dave, okay, so the second question we were thinking about is, why do you think Watchtower, and I guess you can go back to the Bible students, but why do you think they disguise themselves as a religion and not for who they really are?
Well, I'm going to try and give an answer that maybe people can connect to. Basically, all religions were created based on my research out of the Talmud, which is the Jewish book.
Okay.
And if you look at that and you actually are able to find that history, which I was very fortunate to be able to find, you will see that all of these religions were seeded out of that book. And basically, there's a very big link to the Zionist, let's just say, in that particular religion being the seed. Well, if you know anything about New York, which I know a lot now, a lot more than I ever did, how dark New York is, you'll see that the seed that was planted with Charles T. Russell back in Brooklyn and New York back in the day was he planted a Masonic seed by creating the Jehovah's Witness religion. And you'll find, based on my recollection, he had tried to start 2 or 3 other religions prior to be able to starting this. And if you look at him specifically, if you look at him specifically, you'll see the line. You'll see how the seed, he was the seed that created it, and then you'll see the linear to where we are now. So basically, it's all part of what I call the harvesting program, which basically that's all what religion is. It harvests all of the good people, and they put all of these gods outside of you, the individual, to follow. And for me, Jehovah was a very punishing God for me when I was a young man in the truth. I felt but on the other hand, I got great things that a lot of people didn't get. I knew the 10 Commandments, and I knew a lot of biblical information that helped me be a good person. So it was it's a two-edged sword in a way. I love the people in the truth. I got to tell you, some of the best people in the world I know are still in the religion, but it's unfortunate that they're being, misguided from that original seed that Charles T. Russell started, in my opinion, and was directed by the Masons that he was associated with.
Okay.
That's best as I can give it to you. Deep, pretty deep.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, that actually leads us into the third question. Why do you think now, if you look at the Facebook groups, the XJW groups, they're always posting pictures of something from the literature that has symbols. We've seen the pedo symbols on Caleb and Sophia videos. So why do you think Watchtower has used symbols of Freemasonry in their literature and in their buildings?
Because again, it's back to the Zionist seed. Those are all their symbols. They incorporated them into the Masons, who Russell was, and they used high-level Masons to surrounding Russell to get the religion off the ground. And basically, the religion, in my opinion, is a big, huge harvesting device. I mean, when you look at all the money that's extracted from the 6 or 8 million people who are, supposedly in practicing members, you'll see just how much money they extract. I mean, how can I have a printing background, and just to see the printing that they're doing, the fact that I don't believe they still are, but they were the largest printer in the world,
Yeah,
the
well,
Watchtower Society.
Yeah.
So, what is that about? Well, those are all back doors. There's a lot of things that go down there that are not related at all to the witnesses, according to information I've been able to obtain by people who've left. So, there's a lot going on, as you said, behind the scenes, and it goes pretty deep. But what you're really looking at is you're looking at you're looking at a religion that is a control, and a religion that is the extractor of people's energy and money. That's basically what it is. And that's basically what, if you start looking deeply into the Masons and at the higher 33-degree levels, you'll see that's exactly what they're doing. It's
wow.
exactly what they're doing.
Wow. You have any thoughts on that?
No, you pretty much covered it.
Okay. Well, one thing I was concerned with is with some of the research that I've done, I've heard that the Freemasons, cabal, Illuminati, whatever you want to say, they usually have to put their message out there to let people know that basically this is what they're doing. But a lot of people don't understand it. Would this go back into the hidden in plain sight thing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and it's, I think most of the people listening know Satan. Well, if you know anything about Satanism, which I've studied because I wanted to know what it was, but I never, it was very hard because it was taboo being in the truth or surrounded by people who are in the truth. When you dive deep into those things, you'll see how deep and dark they are. And, again, it goes very deep. There are so many levels of power that most people are unaware of on this planet. And one of the things I'd like to tell people is, let's just take a look at the last president, Trump. He was only about 25% up the power chain. And so, most people think, wow, if, Trump can do no good, no harm, he's great. Well, understand, you're only getting a quarter of the information that's available. Most everything else above that is hidden. So there's sort of like an umbrella over everybody. And that's the compartment that we're in. And that also exists in the religion. Again, everything repeats itself. These patterns repeat. And once you learn what they are, you can see them in religion, in government, in banking, because they're basically, they're repeated over and over and over.
Yeah. So I know that when I first woke up from Watchtower, I was always under the assumption that the governing body were the ones that were heading up the organization. But as I've learned, they're not. They seem to be just the face.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it doesn't seem that way. I don't think so. I mean, granted, they're not going to come out and say that, but it just seems like they have a team around them that's kind of actually running their day-to-day operations, and that they're more or less figureheads. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
What's your opinion on that, Dave?
Yeah. My opinion on that is that's very accurate, what you both just said, but it goes way deeper than you would ever imagine.
Okay.
Basically what you just described is a mob system that runs worldwide, that's in almost every religion. And these individuals that you just mentioned that are the controllers on some level always have a boss above them. And they're basically just they're placeholders, they're actors. They do what they're tasked to do, and they get a percentage of the take. So for instance, of all the money that's been extracted out of all these witnesses, and believe me, it's probably in the billions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
People are getting paid. Well, if it's the governing body, well, they're getting paid probably 15 to 20% of the take, somewhere in there, based on estimates I've seen. The rest, the 70 or 80% of what's extracted goes straight to the cabal. Most people don't know that, that your taxes, your federal taxes, go straight to Puerto Rico to the IRS bank, and then they're wire transferred to the Vatican Bank in Zug, Switzerland. That's something that people, I know it may be a little deep to hear, but that's the way it works.
Yeah.
We pay our taxes, they go to the Vatican, and that's
I was just going to say, for the sake of our viewers here, could you explain what cabal is to the audience so that we can kind of get a better understanding?
Cabal stems from Kabbalah. And again, it goes back to the Talmud and to the let's see, I'm sorry, I can't quite think of the other Zionist book that's out there. But, you know, if you read into that and you study it, which I have, it's pretty sickening what their directive is and what, you know, they literally tell us we're slaves. They literally tell us that they can use our children any way they want, basically, that's at the highest levels. So that's really what's going on. And you've got to look at the seeds they plant. Who's planting those seeds? The individuals at the very top, who are the darkest of the dark. That's basically who is planting the seeds. And then it's just funneled down into the streets where we, you know, used to go to these kingdom halls.
How could we as the public be a little bit more informed about, you know, a lot of these things that are happening in the dark regarding cabal, regarding, you know, the higher ups of the governing body and all that? How could we know a little bit more about that?
Well, I have the web page here, speakproject.net. That's a group that I've been basically promoting, I guess you could say, because I've found a majority of the information that resonates at the highest level of truth comes from that web page. So speakproject.net. There's a lot of other people out there that have some of this information. But it is a lengthy search, I'll tell you. You know, I've dedicated, you know, over 10 years just in what I know now. And I mean, I've awakened at a very high level because of my nonstop search. This is not something easy to do. You know, we've all basically been programmed to have a very short attention span.
Yeah.
So, you know, the average attention span is somewhere around 8 minutes, apparently.
That's that long?
Yeah.
You know, and so, like for me, I filtered through hundreds and hundreds of hours of videos, hundreds and hundreds of hours of people who, and this is the thing, people who tell you these things. There are not very many truthful people out there. Or there's not very many people who are not corrupted on some level. And a lot of people don't know they're corrupted. They just get a paycheck from somewhere and they promote what they're told to promote. It's a job. And they believe in what they believe in because that's all they know. But that's the compartment that they're in.
Well,
And
it
so,
even seems like, you know, humans in general have a hard time being objective. I feel like it's really a flaw of people in general to just be objective. You know, we're still very tribalistic in our thinking and prone to kind of believe and reinforce the things that we want to believe. And I've seen that with myself and most people that I know. It's very hard for people to be objective sometimes.
well, there's a lot of trauma in these programs, and the trauma makes people hold on to these old belief systems. So as I started to treat my trauma, I was able to remove a lot of the old information, the old history. I mean, I can't believe how all of the Jehovah's Witness, the Watchtower information had just been so deeply seated in my subconscious, and it's taken me decades to work on those things, remove them because they're not core values for me any longer. But they were controllers of me. Like I said, looking into
That's
things like,
fact.
you know, looking like things like Satanism and witchcraft and things like that that are taboo. I mean, I'm glad I did. I don't practice those things, but I'm glad I know about them because now I know what to look for. Because, you know, these entities are real and they're described in the Bible if you believe, you know, what you read. So I encounter them quite often now because of who I am and what I speak. You know, I will tell you, there is a battle going on right now between light and dark on this planet. But very few people know that it's going on. Honestly.
I'm curious. Yeah, I want to know a little bit more about that because you say something that's very interesting. I'm sure the viewers would probably think this is pretty interesting too. You say that you encounter these forces a lot. Is that what you're referring to? Like these forces of light and dark?
Absolutely, yes. I'm very connected to my light forces. I will say that.
Okay.
And you could look at that as angels, if you will, you know, described in the Bible. So I'm very connected. They do a lot for me. They protect me. They guide me, as well as source. It's a sort of a combination. But that's what I have going for me that I've created, and it's real to me. And then on the other side, you know, like I say, having source there for me and knowing that I'm connected to the energy. And this is really what I'm really talking about. If you look at the Watchtower Society, we're all batteries. All they really do is they're they're robbing our battery. So if you've got a big battery and you got a bunch of floodlights attached to it and you leave it on for 3 or 4 hours, it's going to drain that battery. Well, that's basically what happens to you when you go into the hall, is what I found out. And you can look at like traditional churches where they have steeples. Actually, all of the energy from inside of a church goes up that steeple and is extracted. And you might ask, wow, or how is that done? Well, there's a lot of technology on this planet that most people don't know about. And they can actually extract and harvest our energy, our life force energy, and use it for whatever they want. That's actually going on right now with 5G. That's something I know a lot about, how 5G is being used to extract our energy. So, I look forward to talking to you guys in the future about things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have to hear more about, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Matrix. If you remember the Matrix, the machines would harvest humans for battery power because humans produce energy.
Well, it's just like the show Monsters Inc. or the movie Monsters Inc. They would scare those kids, and the energy that those kids were giving off because they were scared actually increased the battery power for, I guess, whatever corporation that was or whatever, but it was the same concept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot out there in the movies, there's a lot out there.
All right. So just so that we don't go too long on this, the fourth question I had was, Dave, do you think it's possible that we could see the toppling of the tower in our lifetime?
Absolutely.
Really?
Based on
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, based on everything I know, look, there's a lot of things that maybe your viewers might not be able to connect to, but 2012 was supposed to be Armageddon. We escaped it. We escaped it because of individuals like us who are of the light, who are here to see this thing through and not let Armageddon happen. And what it's about is the real truth. When people know the real truth, they can't, and they don't just throw that information away, and they recognize what's going on and they do something about it. That's what's been going on with very small groups of people. I happen to be included in that group. I believe you are as well. There's a lot of people out there, but there's not that many of us, to be real honest with you. And this is why we all need to unite, because as we unite, the unified field of frequency of all humanity rises up, and we then control this system that's been controlled by the dark.
Hey, David,
that's what's happening right now.
You say that you feel like Armageddon was supposed to come in 2012 and that we prevented it. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes. Well, the New World Order has been marching forward for a very long time. If people who don't know, you can look this stuff up. United Nations Agenda 2020, United Nations Agenda 2030. Look up the Rothschilds, look up Bill Gates, what they're doing. There's genocide programs. They were trying to crash the economy. There's been multiple nuclear events that have been thwarted. China almost landed on the shores of the United States in December.
Yep.
Most people don't know much about that. But the reality is there are individuals who have been stopping these things from happening.
Are you talking about Armageddon from, from humans, or some type of an Armageddon from some kind of otherworldly forces? I'm just curious, because this is the first time I've heard this, so I'm curious.
Well, there's a lot of ways to answer that. I think the best way to give your viewers or the listeners a little bit of an understanding is look up on Google the Georgia Guidestones and read what it says on them. Okay. They want to remove everybody on the planet, get us down to 500 million people. And this glorious 144,000 that all the witnesses have heard about are the people that go underground while the surface population is wiped out. And then once the population is wiped out, they go above ground and reseed this planet. And that is basically what the elite are telling us on the Georgia Guidestones, and that was their plan, still is, but they've lost the power that they needed to bring it through because we've thwarted them. And to be real honest with you, we're very close to checkmate based on what I know right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How do you feel? Okay, how do you feel like we've thwarted them?
Well, there's a lot. It goes pretty deep. But let's just say there's some very good people on this planet with some very high technology, who have been given, who have the right heart vibration to carry through this mission. I am one of those people, and there are many I know, but it's very hidden information. We have to, I guess the way to understand it is that this is the highest level of intelligence on the planet. I prayed to be able to be open, to walk through that door, to be able to see what it was. And it will not really compute to most people's brains, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It is so widely different than all of these programs that we've been taught.
And
So, I hope that with you guys on the future.
and the research, just doing what I've done over the past year, it's just constant research. And it does take a lot of time to be able to kind of figure out what the picture looks like and then put all the puzzle pieces in there. It's very difficult. It does take a lot of time. And, it is a little frustrating sometimes because, there's sometimes I've told my wife, I was like, man, it's a pain in the butt to be awake because you're just like, you see, once you're awake, you can see stuff that you've never seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
It is crazy. So
yeah, well, and it's just like that Awake magazine. It really means asleep because that's what they're doing to you.
Yeah.
They're putting
All
you
right,
asleep
so
and programming you.
wow, this has been awesome. So, okay, so the last question we had, Dave, was what advice would you give to our viewers who would say that all this is a coincidence or all this is just some crazy conspiracy theory and we're all wearing a tinfoil hat? What would you say to them?
You're not awake. You need to, if you want to be awake, if you really want to be awakened, you've got to remove the spells that have been cast on you. And there are thousands of them that have been cast on you. There were thousands of them that had been cast on me being a Jehovah's Witness boy up till 15 and a half. And it's taken me over 3 decades to unwrap that box.
How do you
I can
think
help
you could
people
uncast these
You
spells?
know, I can help people walk through those doors, but I don't have time for everybody. I'm hoping to be, again, be doing some more educational stuff because people really need to know how to remove the dark programming to be able to open their minds enough just to see what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Because it is out there. And I will tell you,
I'd like to know, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think we could do that, Dave? What are some ideas?
well, the key you mentioned, we all go on these, people like us, we go out seeking and trying to find the information that's going to awaken us. And we're awakened mostly for me, my first 20 years of that were very, very slow. When I prayed to my creator and when I went into meditation and started about 10 years ago, the process was about 10 times to 100 times faster for me to awaken, to remove the programming, and to find the right sources. Like I say, speakproject.net is a really good source, although many people may not connect to it right away, but at least take a look at it because you will see what is being provided on that webpage in the very near future. You will see what it is. It will be right in front of you and you won't be able to ignore it.
And I really do believe that it is a process because I have told folks time and time again that there's different levels of waking up. When I woke up from Watchtower, remember we did the Freemason video, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't awake yet. And now look at us doing a video like this.
Yeah.
We've progressed along that line of waking up. And so there's so many people that are still stuck back here because I don't know why they're stuck back there, but it's just like maybe they don't want to accept it. Maybe they're scared of it, or they're just so comfortable with their own lives that maybe they don't want to go further and look into this stuff.
And I could be wrong, David, but I think what you're saying is that you believe that basically someone who is a sincere truth seeker and someone who sincerely wants to be enlightened is going to find this.
Right. If you don't react and put up a wall, you might just find that crack in the door like I found, and you're just going to keep going. I'm a pre-paver. Okay. So I can actually see a lot of what's going on in the future. So I cut trails through the wilderness and let people say, hey, you want to follow? Well, not everybody's up for that hike.
Right.
But there's people that are. But at least people know there's a road, and maybe one of these days they wake up enough and go, hey, I remember that guy David told me where that path is. I'm going to go check it out.
That's why that's why I have said through my whole activism that I wanted to keep an open mind. You know, my mind has been so closed with all those years of Watchtower. We were told what to believe, how to believe, when to believe it. And I just got to the point for me to where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep my mind. I mean, hell, if the aliens, my mind is so open that if the aliens landed in my yard, I'd be like, hey, y'all, what's up? I mean, that's how open I am right now.
The thing is,
grab a drink.
they're already here. They're already here. They're
Yeah.
under your feet.
Well, we may have to have that conversation on another
I
video.
definitely want to know more about. Okay, whoa! Now you got my attention.
Yeah, there's 36 alien races under our feet based on what I know.
Okay.
And that's why, but hey, you know, again, that's out there. But how do I know that? Well, because I kept seeking. Did I want to believe that? Absolutely not. I
Okay,
didn't want
we got to
nothing to
talk
do with-
more.
Yeah.
Hey, they don't look like they're not like right next to me, are they? knew it.
I've seen them on the surface. They're rare,
Wow.
but I've seen them on the surface. And
Okay.
you develop
Well,
those skills. You know, you develop those skills if you know what to look for.
okay.
And they're
Wow.
not scary.
I'm going to be honest with you, Dave. I want to know more about that. We're going to have to talk more about
Yeah,
that
well,
at some point.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to end this interview now because I just basically I'm up against a time limit today. But I really hope that our viewers, the viewers of the Roundtable, found this video to be interesting, enlightening, informative,
Formative,
to
to say the least.
Yeah, it's we told you guys that when we rebooted the Roundtable that it was going to be a little bit different than what we did before, but we're still trying to show that truth. We're still trying to help folks wake up, help them open their minds. And with the information that we've gotten from Dave today, I'm hoping that through the comments and the interaction with the video, that folks would like to see us do another interview with Dave. I would like to do another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a part 2.
So
Sounds good, guys. Well, I'm down. So just let me know. And I appreciate, you know, you guys bringing me on and this reboot. How awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
thank
Dave,
you.
we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come talk with us today. I'm hoping that we planted some seeds in someone today. So I hope so.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to end with, you know, you talked about conspiracy theory at the beginning.
Yeah,
Just remember the CIA invented that term.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
You know,
And-
again,
and-
that's the type of thing that's programmed. It's a program to make you think something, but it's absolutely the opposite. It's true.
Yes, it's the same. And I've been saying it on my Facebook page. The government created the CIA back in 1960s because of the JFK, right?
It goes way deeper than that.
Does it really? Okay, so that's what I know. Okay, we'll have to talk about that later. But Watchtower does the same thing when they call us apostates.
Oh yeah,
They're trying to discredit us because
it's a
we're-
silencing tactic.
yeah, we're telling the truth about Watchtower, and the people that get called conspiracy theorists, they're called that so people won't listen to them.
Well, as soon as you say that or use that title, it's basically a title to say that that person and everything that they're talking about or stand for has no credibility.
Yep, Yep.
Nullified.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
But hey.
but you got any final thoughts?
No, that was about it.
Okay, so
All right,
what I'm
guys.
going to do for the viewers is Dave has been in several other videos. He did a video with Dan and Angela Clark. Life After Religion is their Facebook page or YouTube page. I'm sorry, and he also did another video with a lady named Chantel.
Chantel out of South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Aquarius
I'm
Has he been on
rising
the
up.
6 screens?
He was last
Excuse
week
me?
on Dan. and
I was
Angela's.
gonna say, yeah, okay.
So I will find those videos and I will put a link to those in the description of this video. So if you guys would like to go more into the information that Dave has, you can click on those videos and check them out. And then also please communicate with us. Let us know if you want us to have Dave back on, and so we can discuss a little bit more and maybe pose some of your questions so we can create an outline.
Definitely.
So we have something ready for him.
Questions, comments, all of that.
All right. So I'm going to be posting this to my channel, and then Diasis is going to upload it to his channel as well, so everybody can see it. But we want to again thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody that has subscribed to our channels. And if you like what we're doing, hit the like button, hit subscribe for future Roundtable videos.
Yep.
All
See
right.
you later.
All right. We love
Thank
you
you,
guys.
gentlemen. Good evening.
Thanks, Dave.